Okay.
This is how you
Yeah,
can
we tested.
the emotions and reaction and calibrate your speech regarding that. So yeah,
Can you select me the link?
Yes.
I can actually see
You can. Should I send it on general in the Slack channel?
No,
just
you
to
don't
you?
need to do anything. I will tweet from. I'm taking it from the YouTube channel, so.
I'm gonna send it to you anyway.
I remember you joined this.
Falei, pô. Cuidado que tudo que você tá falando agora tá indo pro live stream, tá? Já tá gravando já. Certo.
Vai transmitir online?
Sim, já tá transmitindo.
Since you can write a blog, you already have enough research, enough information behind it, and then they can have a talk. You can have a little stage format, but then in a bigger scale. That's very good. I really like that you're talking about career because I've been in the industry for like I don't know more than 10 years. I've never considered that work as a career. I always considered it yeah, work. That's what I do. So even you pay me money, I do PHP for you. This is it's basically I start thinking I write careers. Like what I think is what do you want to do? What brings you some joy? What works you? And this is where you can think, all right, this position fits me, this position doesn't, and this is how you go further. I like you paying attention. That's very good. Yeah. Right.
Sure, I like it. Are you also developing?
They get it wasn't live, I Happy for you, good luck with that, huh? Shall I bring you a beer? A coffee? A water? I'll do that.
Are we allowed to? Only for them to tell me talking about I like it because I actually like it as
Ja. En dan ga lekker zitten. Ik ben heel warm gebleven.
Yeah, I was in a hurry.
Good evening. Hello. There's still room at the front, so there will be no microphones. So if you can't hear very well, there are still options here. Welcome everybody to another edition of AmsterdamPHP. So I just heard some of the old guys from this community mention that this is probably the first time that we have this outside. Does anybody remember a previous time? No. So this is the first time. Okay, we already cheered, but this is very amazing. On the screen, you will see the schedule for the day. So I'm going to go through this. Tonight's sponsor, Big Hands, Sudoku. Is there somebody here from Sudoku who would like to say a few words?
Yes, that is me. Hello, everyone. I'm Raf, an engineering manager here at Sudoku. Welcome to our awesome office outside. First for you, I know. For us, it's every day. We're really happy to host the Amsterdam PHP meetup for the first time, hopefully the first of many. And we're really happy to have you all here. If you're hungry, thirsty, there's the kitchen, there's beer, there's everything you need. So just help yourselves, and pizzas are on the way. I know you guys are anxious about that, so it's coming. Yeah. I wanted to talk a bit about Sudoku to you guys to explain what we do here. Sudoku started a bit as a student project, like many startups, you know. Our founders were at university, having the best time of their lives. And they decided to create this project where they created a platform for students to share their documents with each other, so between their colleagues and by consequence to the whole world. It started as a small startup, but then it quickly, it started as a student project, but it quickly grew into a whole startup. We started small by only targeting the Netherlands at the first place, but with the years we grew our business model and applied it to thousands of universities in over 60 countries. We now have 50 million documents in our platform, and it keeps growing 500,000 every month. How do we handle all of this, you think? We have this thing that's called a pipeline that all documents that get uploaded to our platform goes through. This pipeline is written in Python, and what it does is analyzes all of the documents we get, so PDFs, Word, X, everything you might imagine, converts them to PDF, compresses the PDF, generates thumbnails. So all of these small things that are really important for a platform like ours to work. And after it processes all of this, it feeds our lovely backend with this information. Our backend is written in PHP 8.1 with Laravel 9. And yes, there's a bit of legacy code all around. But we've been building amazing teams with extremely talented engineers that have been really refactoring all of the code our beautiful founders have coded to something a bit more scalable and easy to work with. We have a lot of different projects going on internally to improve the developer experience, because we think that's the most important thing to attract people to work here. We just really want our developers to have the best time of their life helping all of the students around the world. Our developers are all assigned to teams with specific business focuses, but they still work in backend and front-end matters through our guilds. Our guilds are like let's call it like a cross-functional team where all of these developers, backend, front-end, gather together outside of their own teamwork to discuss topics like, oh, Laravel 69 is coming up. What do we have to do to migrate to it? Let's plan a refactoring or a migration plan and do along with it. So our developers not only focus on the team story points they have to achieve, but they also focus on the things that the guilds have to achieve, not only backend, but also front-end and DevOps. So not only they get the knowledge base from the teams they work in, but they also manage to grow within their careers inside of Sudoku through these projects like upgrading to Laravel 9, like we're doing now, or just moving completely our platform like we're doing right now to Next.js, for example. If you want to hear a bit more about our product or how it is to work here in this amazing office, just find someone with a Sudoku t-shirt like this. There's many of different colors and sizes, and ask them anything you want about the product or even an office tour, and we'll guide you through it. But yeah, we just wanted to welcome you guys here. Enjoy today, and please, there's drinks, there's food. and stay after the talk that our beautiful speaker is going to talk about today. And we're going to have some Nintendo Switch here to play Super Smash Bros. I'm sure there's a lot of players here. I'm looking forward to beat each one of you. And enjoy tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then on to other matters. We are having a raffle after the evening. Well, before let's to this. I started 5 sentences. I will finish one. So tonight we are doing things a little bit different. We have a shorter presentation, and afterwards we're going to have a fishbowl where you can provide subjects to discuss, and then we can discuss them with each other, see how other people think about some matters. We'll see how it goes until we're bored, and then we can have the pizzas. After the raffle, which has amazing prizes. Woo! What is that? Woo! We have several elephants to raffle, apparently. And one very special Molly elephant, quite rare. And, of course, a Japanese license, as every month. And the AmsterdamPHP chocolate bar. If you like what you see or think things can go better, please leave a rating at Meetup or join in. That's the link to join in. It actually works. Some conferences and events that are coming up. This one is the closest, Cake Fest. Maybe that's why we never had it outside. Anyway, so Cake Fest in September is an online conference. Can be really interesting. In Antwerp is a full stack Europe Congress October 5th to 7th. SymphonyCon Disneyland has been on our slides forever, but they just announced it so far ahead. Which is, of course, a really cool location. And if you are into testing, who isn't? And this might be a really cool conference as well in Germany. So, before we continue, it's time for our speaker. So, I think I'll let you introduce yourself. Femke Buijs.
Never works on the first one.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Oh, nice. All right. I hope my backup is gonna help me with this presentation. And I hope this stays. So, hello everyone. I hope you can hear me properly. My name is Femke Buijs. I am a backend engineer at Molly. And I often introduce myself as a career dropout. Well, what is a career dropout? About 5 years ago, I changed my career. And ever since then, I have become some kind of guru to my friends and friends of friends and random people on LinkedIn who would like to do the same. So today I would like to share with you I see there are pictures taken of me. I would like to tell you my personal story and the advice that I always give. So I often compare a career with climbing. And you can imagine that your current career is a mountain that you climb. This mountain can be a very difficult mountain. It's very steep, it has lots of rocks on the road, it's very bad weather. So while you're walking up there, there's no way you're going back down. I mean, you have come all this way. Why on earth would you go back down? But there might be another mountain that is better suited to your skill set. And climbing down and climbing a second mountain might be a lot easier, a lot more rewarding. And finding the right career can feel like that as well. So my personal heavy mountain was my previous career in finance. I had just finished my master in international financial management, and I was working at a bank in London. Everything seemed great. You know, I had a very good job. I had an amazing salary, because that's what you get in London. And I was living in a very nice apartment in a popular neighborhood in London. But there was one thing missing. I was not happy. It was like climbing up that mountain with a heavy backpack and flip-flops on my feet. And with every day that passed, that backpack got heavier and heavier. Both my career and my study were extremely successful. It had nothing to do with that. But for me, it was just way too hard to continue living like that. It took all the energy that I had inside of me. So one day I was sitting behind my desk doing the exact same thing as I did every single day. And I thought to myself, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Am I going to keep listening to that little voice in the back of my head that tells me I need to persevere just a little while longer? I couldn't. I decided I needed to walk back down that mountain. So I did. I quit my job. I moved out of my house and back into my mom's in the Netherlands. And there I was, standing in the middle of many, many mountains, having no idea what to do next. I often lay awake in the middle of the night thinking to myself, I have no job. I have no income. I have no house. I am, at the time, 25 years old. What am I going to do next? And worse, what are people going to say about me not working? Because opinions were voiced by many around me, including my family. Why would she stop working? Only because she wasn't happy? I felt like I needed to know before I quit my job what I was going to do next. But I had no idea. I had no idea which mountain I needed to climb. And on top of that, I knew that with any new career I started, I would have to start at the bottom. And with that, a huge pay cut. But for me, those reasons just didn't outweigh the struggle of the climb I had to do. So how did I get into engineering? I mean, I had no idea something like programming existed. I had no idea what HTML was. And for those of you who know me, I know I still don't. But a couple of years earlier, during an internship, a little seed was planted. And ever since then, when I met someone who told me they were a software engineer, I thought, damn, that's cool. I wish I could do that too. Eventually, it took my therapist to ask me, why don't you just give that a try? So very, very slowly, I started to walk my second mountain by signing up for a programming bootcamp. And remind you, I had no idea I was going to like it. I was going to be any good at it. But step by step, that path became brighter, sunnier, easier. The amount of energy I felt while growing in engineering was something that I had never felt before, not during my previous work, not during my study. And that is when I realized fast growth comes with doing something that you like. Fast growth comes with passion. I read a sentence in a book the other day which said, people who attack their work with with passion, experience flow, which is a euphoric, effortless state of mind, which is 5 times more productive than the norm. Take that in for a second. 5 times more productive. And all while doing something that you like. So I can hear you think, this motivational speech is great and all, but how do I find this right mountain? How do I find this amazing mountain that gives me these huge piles of productivity that you're talking about? It's actually very simple. You don't. Because it's not about trying to find the optimum mountain. It's about trying a few. Be curious about what you're interested in and try them out. Someone on a podcast once said, and now I do not have to trip on this. Someone on a podcast once said, specialization is for insects. Now that might be a little bit strongly formulated, but it does have a point. Don't try to specialize too early. Don't try to grow as fast as possible in one profession so you will earn lots of money and have a very high position as soon as possible, only to later realize you don't even like what you're doing. And it's not even that uncommon. In Dutch, we have a word for it. It's called dertigers dilemma. I believe in English it's called a quarterly life crisis. But it basically means every person approaching 30 goes through this. But even when you've passed the 30s a long time ago and you have a mortgage to worry about and kids to worry about, and that makes it even more scary to lose any form of stability. Diversify. Be curious and try out different paths. And sometimes have the courage to walk back down a path and just stop what you're doing. So, how can we help others try out different paths? I mean, I think we're all, or most of us are engineers. We really love engineering. But unfortunately, engineering is still not taught in most high schools, which is why I had no idea something like this existed. I don't know what your IT class was about, but for me, it was about PowerPoint and Excel. So for a very long time, I had this dream to excite more kids into choosing a study in computer science. And this autumn, that is finally happening. Because together with Molly, I am organizing Codeo, which is a 4-day programming bootcamp, which will teach high school kids of the ages around 13, 14 years old, the basic principles of programming. To plant that little seed that I had years ago. And maybe for some, this will be the very first step on their sunny mountain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? We have a question.
Of course you do.
Come on, it's not really a question, it's more of an addition. And my manager back then asked me like, hey girl, what do you want to do in your future? What would be your career plan? And I had no idea also back then. But there are tests. Tests are like 16 personalities, DISC test, other like introvert, extrovert test. And it would help you at least understand which track you want to take, leadership or management. It's already good. You want to specialize on one thing or on another thing. And it also would help you to understand a lot about yourself. I wish I had this conversation with the management years ago. Sorry.
Thanks.
That was really inspirational, really. That was like a TED talk, I think.
Yeah.
What was your
your main thought in terms of consistency and keep going, even though the other path felt a bit lighter for you, you still need to put in the work always. So,
Yes.
like, how do you set yourself up for persistence and
Yes.
discipline?
That's a very good question. Actually, it's not like when you start something that you're passionate about, it's always fun or it's always great. Like I said, you really have to take into consideration that you really have to start from the bottom. When I started, I really had to learn from the basic writing just one sentence of code and feeling incredibly proud that the computer was doing what I was doing. But like that doesn't make you an engineer. And I really had to work hard and long to get where I am right now. But what helped massively is that I was just really massively enjoying what I was doing. Like I thought it was really cool that I could talk to a computer and just doing what I was doing. And I just thought that was just so cool. And I was so proud of telling people that I was an engineer, because I always thought that engineers were really cool. Just saying, you're all really cool. I always thought engineers were so amazingly cool, and now I was one of them. So that really helped me into like fighting and earning barely anything to where I am right now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, more. Wow.
I'm just going ahead. So I could relate a lot to what you just told us, because I changed career paths myself as well, a little earlier than you did maybe. I have a master's in education, so initially I wanted to become a teacher. And you criticized, well, in quotation marks, the educational system a little bit as well. And I have thought about that as well. In your opinion, what do we need to change about the educational system to enable young people to think about the career options better earlier on?
Yeah, extremely good question. I always think that the way, especially high schools are now set, is that you have a really fixed set of subjects you're getting, at least in the Netherlands. I don't know what any high schools were in outside of the Netherlands, but you have a very fixed set, like history, maths, economics, these kind, and those are the things that you learn, but you don't really have any opportunity to go outside that, at least not in my high school. There were no extracurricular activities, especially the IT program where you literally learn just using words. Like what is that? So it's like giving kids the opportunity to go besides besides the subjects of the school, and making them try out different things. So, for example, we are working together with a school, the Amsterdam Lyceum, and the rector, is that how you say it in English? It's like a director of the school. He is very motivated in giving kids the opportunities to try different things than just the subjects that he's giving. This is why he wanted to team up with us. In order to provide this. So they are helping us recruit the kids from the high school in order to do this. And I think this is something that any high schools should do. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
More questions I saw. Yes.
Yes. During your presentation, you mentioned the flow state. But I assume you don't have that every day.
No.
How do you deal with days when it doesn't go?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do as we all do. You just basically struggle to get through the day. There are really days still that I sit behind my laptop. I'm like, oh fuck! I'm sorry, can I say that?
Yes, you can.
Oh yes.
I'm never going to drink again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm never gonna, I shouldn't drink before like I go to work, like these kind of things. But no, there are definitely days that I still don't like the day, but I still enjoy programming. And the nice days outweigh the days that are not nice. And I think if I compare this with how I was in finance before, is that every day I was like, okay, what time is it now? It's 3:00. Okay, oh, I have 2 more hours. Like this is how I went through those days, and every single day. And even when I was thinking about the future of my career, I had no goal, no point, or no one that I saw like this is what I want to be. And now I have so many senior engineers and engineering managers within Molly, for example, but also people who do who do talks, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. I want to do that later. So I still have this kind of enthusiasm to get that. But I think it's really important to always check with yourself, do I still enjoy it? Maybe not today, but in general, do I still enjoy what I'm doing? And I think this is kind of like what I'm still keeping an eye on.
Did anyone tell you to just like, yeah, you're struggling, but that's why they're paying you?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But especially when, like before, especially when, like I said, my family wasn't, not my mom. Like my mom was amazing. She's like, come back and you'll find. This is for me also. I had this support system where my mom was like, you can come here and you'll find in your own time when you know what you want to do. But especially uncles and aunts who are a little bit more conservative were like, yeah, I mean, we don't all like what we're doing, but you have to earn money. Like that's the whole point of working. Like you can't just be happy and just quit your whole study and career just because you aren't happy. Like it doesn't work that way. So it's I don't know where I was going with this, but that's the point.
I know where you're going.
Yes.
I do this and I have to do something.
Yes.
Oh, can I ask?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, so when you're about to change your path, and I believe that was kind of also, maybe stressful period in your life, was where to go, what to do, how do you decide what language to learn? Like, what path to choose? Like, because like currently there are lots of possibilities and you can really struggle, okay, do I want to be front-end engineer, back-end engineer, or I want to be full stack, or what is it, like, how you would navigate this?
Yeah, I think the question of language kind of comes later, right? I mean, it's first, do you enjoy programming? And you start maybe a programming bootcamp, or you start with typing a little bit of HTML and liking what you're doing, and then you grow from there. And I had this bootcamp. I signed up, and I just wanted to see whether I liked this and whether I was any good at it. And we started with HTML and CSS, and I was like, okay, I don't really like this, but okay, eventually I'm a backend engineer. I'm still full on the backend. Sorry, front-enders in here. But then we started with JavaScript. I'm like, okay, this is cool. There's some functionality going. And then I learned some PHP. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And that's the first job I had was just learning on the job. And there I had to do a lot of JavaScript, a lot of Node. So also front end and back end. And there I learned, okay, I really don't like front end. And I moved more into the back end. I applied for Molly. Molly is in PHP, so you kind of go with PHP, and now I'm like in the phase where I'd like to try something else, maybe like Rust or something. But the language in itself is not the most important thing. It's about knowing how to use language, and as soon as you know how to use a language, you can switch to another one. It's not like you're tied to one forever.
Yeah, I know. I'm just curious. I believe that, like, for me, I'm front-end engineer mostly, so for now. But I agree that you're always like curious. So for now, it's like, okay, Java is interesting, but what's next?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I got the feeling, and I was just curious.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
Yeah. For me, it was
it's always
definitely
a question that you want to learn more and more and more, and
yeah.
it never ceases to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Final question.
So,
Then I can finally drink my drink.
what you mean?
So, like, when you dropped finance, it was probably like, I don't know, I find this like, I've been working a while in development, and sometimes I find myself comparing me with like, oh, this person is doing this and this and that. This is really nice. And then I'm like now thinking about like management and stuff. I'm like, no, but look at that person. Like, so I can imagine that you're like, okay, finance, and you had like other people that you're looking after as well. Like, okay, this person is doing that and receiving this amount of money or something.
Yes.
Like that. And how was for you like to really like come to a state that was like, okay, I'm gonna have a lot of curiosity to learn a lot of things, but also like looking for these people that like they were already doing that. And I don't know, like sometimes it's a little bit, you can shy away a little bit because it's like, oh my God, it's so scary.
Yes. Oh yes. Also because I don't look like the most typical engineer. I've heard many times, and I often struggled a bit with like the imposter syndrome, where I felt like, okay, I wasn't a kid who was always behind computers. I was always playing PC games, but I was not like programming when I was younger. I am not. I didn't start with like open source or anything, so I really always felt like the lesser person in the room, and it really has. Especially at Molly, I have to say, not to promote Molly, but especially at Molly, there are many senior engineers who don't care that you're more junior or meteor as now. It's more that they really like your input, and that's how you start to grow. You're like, okay, I do understand stuff, and then you like start to get more confident. But starting over in a new job is a new career, and especially something that I always get surprised faces when I say I'm an engineer. Like people just you feel like you have to convince people all the time that you're an engineer, and it's and that's is hard, but it's I know it's part of it. It also gives you the kind of motivation to become like that, because you look up to people and you're like, oh, this person, I would like to do this at some point, and now I am doing it. So then I'm like, okay, I have a next step, and I also can see myself saying like, oh, 2 years ago I looked up to people who were doing what I am doing right now, and that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. So then we move on to the next phase of this meetup, the logging in. So let me present this. This is I don't know if any of you have ever seen this. Oh, come on. Okay. So if you read the instructions, I would please like your input. So we would like to collect some subjects for a group discussion. Maybe there's something you're really interested about, how other developers look at certain things, or whatever. Maybe you've got inspired by this presentation and want to dive deeper into something else, see how others do it. Please keep it's a free text input, so please keep it short to one word, because if the same word happens more often, it will be bigger on screen, and then we know what to talk about. Test, yes. Look, I love talk about testing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I assume you have internet on your phone. I don't know. Oh, the guy behind you wears a Sudoku shirt. He knows.
You can also give exposure to the views. I hope it's not a 12-digit. No, man, I don't know. Okay. Anyway, yeah, look at this. Look at this. Something we should definitely change. I don't even know. Welcome to Slovakia. But first O is a 0.
Don't tell anyone.
Okay, 2 is a 2. The number 2. Welcome to.
Welcome 0.
All right. No, it's funny.
everybody doing this.
What happened with everyone's normal?
Yeah.
Exclamation point at the end?
Yes.
Make a big capital.
You have capital S plus 2. Also capital dot control. Show me one snippet.
Okay, so the biggest word in screen is community. This is kind of an experiment, and it's funny that you get indeed very generic results. This is going to be difficult to discuss. So we have some backup in case we stumble. Community. So who put a community down there, and could you maybe explain why you wrote it down?
Don't be shy.
I have to say, it feels nice in the middle.
Yes, it does. It's to improve the word cloud. Frank, yes.
I think more people do because it's a bit bigger.
Yeah, it is.
I added this first because I thought AmsterdamPHP for community, we're just back after COVID, like what are things that we made AmsterdamPHP could do to
Did everybody hear that?
No.
It was a bit hard to. It was. It's hard to reach the front.
Maybe you should use the
So
shields.
the question was, so talk about community, and we're recollecting ourselves after the COVID period. So what would you like? So we're asking for input. What we can do with Amsterdam PHP? Is that correct? Summary. So you said it better.
No.
All right.
Good stuff.
At least we tried. Then I'm going to switch. There's also several programming languages in here, and that's also something that you mentioned in your talk. So maybe we can combine that in a subject to talk about. Do you think a PHP developer should learn a different language because PHP is dying? Please. Yeah.
I'd say at least be aware of what the other languages offer, because some languages are actually a lot more advanced than PHP.
Whoa.
So at least just be aware of what's going on in other worlds, in other languages.
Yeah.
Just putting
I'm
out
not
there
saying
that
it's dying,
It's the
I'm just
largest
saying.
community of languages in the Netherlands. It's PHP.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
I would say that many different languages have many different use cases, and PHP is not an all-in-one solution for most things.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll go. Yeah.
I think coexistence is already there. So many companies that were pure PHP in the past now are turning to become multi-tech stack companies anyway. And my previous company was that. You guys are doing that as well with your Python PHP dual stack. Molly is doing it. A little too late, maybe. So that's just my 2 cents. So, of course, the answer is yes. You should be aware of what other folks are doing. You should be curious. That's also what Femke told us, I think, unless I got it wrong completely. Stay curious. Also, what is happening in other ecosystems. So yes, 1,000 times yes.
Yeah. And behind.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that PHP is amazing. You can say that PHP can't do anything, but I have wrote a mail server in PHP that uses Fork to be multi-threaded and it worked fine.
Okay, impressive.
Yeah, I wrote like postfix and stuff. And also I wrote a desktop application that used GTK as a toolkit, and that kind of died eventually, but so there is future in PHP, is my point.
I would say PHP is not dying. In fact,
PHP is now living through its renaissance. Yes, there was a time where PHP might have been dying after PHP 5 or PHP 65. I believe PHP 6 is on there somewhere. Yes. But now, with the amount of communities that we have, the amount of progress there is in the language, the amount of people involved in it, there is even an entire body pouring money into its core and core developers now. Not the first time in history, but it has been quite a while. So I would definitely say it's not dying, in fact, renaissance.
Yeah, thank you. True. So, and if we then move to more personal development, well, it's clearly a good idea to learn other languages. But so, if you're, I mean, who has the time for that? So, how often, how many languages do I have to learn? Does anybody have some input?
42.
Nice.
We're done. Okay. All right. All right.
You had it covered.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Walk right into that.
Yeah. So, how can we move on with this?
I would say at least one functional language and one operating language. At least.
I would say at least one strictly typed, because that is something that most PHP programmers that I know, they don't have a clue. They walk into something, they don't know the difference between a string and an array. They don't know the difference between integer. And they make PHP is an easy language. You can get away with it. The moment something gets difficult, they don't have it, they fall on their face and they can't find the answer. Of course, they can find the answer in something this simple, but when you go, but when you get to a far more structured language like Golang, it's on the board, you become far more strict in your mind. You get some clean habits, and just doing different languages to get habits that will help you in every language is something that I think will help any programmer. So if you do something loosely typed, like PHP, try something strictly typed. If you do something OO, try something functional. There's probably a lot more things like a lot more splits in language.
Yeah.
I tried this. Let's do the exact opposite. See what it forces me to do. See what it teaches me to do. See if I can create a habit that will help me in any language that I do. And in the end, as Andrew said, language is easy to learn.
Yeah, I think it's quite clear.
I think that a good developer, a good engineer has in his head, he or she can take a problem and deconstruct the problem, find a way in their head of, okay, we're going to take these steps, and I hope when you're there, the language doesn't matter anymore because you've already solved the problem.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
So I see a lot of like new languages here on the board, like Rust or Golang and that kind of stuff. And sometimes, of course, we have a feeling we want to do new stuff and that kind of stuff. But I also look to a lot of Java the last few years. There I see, coming from a symphony background, I see like, okay, this is the same thing, but then more mature, more like better supported, and what I like is PHP dying? Maybe it's not dying, but we're kind of solving problems that were solved a decade ago by other systems, and so not only looking to the new stuff, but also to the stuff. Okay, here is like more mature stuff where we don't have the problems, which are backed by big enterprises and not by hobbyists, with all the respect. There is a lot of packages in PHP. You depend on, okay, see 3 maintainers, okay, and they don't work at the company anymore where they built a package and now it's dead. So it's not only that the language is dead, but like a lot of packages that are used or dead, and that's also always a big struggle. And if you look to Java and Spring, there's like a lot of more maturity and like, for example, support for, I don't know, Kafka or that kind of stuff. That's all well done in other languages. So I know, I don't know, connected to Redis in Docker. That's like every developer who uses Docker and Redis has struggled with that. And that's why is that not just solved in PHP?
But shouldn't we as companies, especially with the dead open source libraries, help contribute to open source then to prevent packages that we depend on from going bust?
Yeah, but in the world, we need so much software. Why solve problems and build like improved packages that other people already have written in a correct way?
Okay, so
we can
use
spend
Microsoft Office because it's best of breed and forget about it. Open Office, it's written by hobbyists.
Yeah, I think.
So, would you like Microsoft Excel for the rest of your life as your own spreadsheet?
Better than Libre.
Is it? There's things that one can do that the other can't.
Yeah.
But you're also giving a kick in the teeth and saying, Microsoft, here's my money, LibreOffice off.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful capitalist attitude.
Yeah, but I meant like the Java and Spring, it's like kind of open source packages.
Java isn't totally, and Java has always been backed by people like Sun.
Yeah.
Money has been poured into it. Money has not been poured into PHP. Should we be pouring money into PHP instead of saying PHP will forget you, we'll all go Java?
Wow.
Because it's already had other people's money thrown in.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe, but maybe not.
Maybe not.
But thank you for the other perspective, at least.
It started to get of a discussion like languages, but I think every developer should watch to more languages than his main language, and I think that's the main step.
I want to add the English language to the list. But like communication is like should be in session, and they joke about the English language could be like the Dutch language, Portuguese, or whatever language you speak at work. But like having a good grasp of the communication tools that we have is also like a good way, because we are not isolated in Ireland. We are communicating with with different people, especially from different roles. Content developers, designers, programmers are the most common ones around us. And I also think that it helps us deconstruct the problem, like our friend here, Marcel. Like Marcel said before, like once you have a better understanding of how language works, I believe that it also helps you deconstruct your problems into smaller parts.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I guess the consensus of this, what everybody says, it's good to broaden your horizon. And again, I think that points back to what you already said. Don't specialize too early. There's a great book written about that. You should read it. It's called Range by Epstein. And I see the other most popular subject is now Sudoku. Who put that there?
I wonder who put that there.
So I guess we'll move on to the next part. Or does Sudoku people have something to say? No, right? Okay.
I want to talk about Sudoku. I have a question for them.
Yeah.
Why Laravel?
Laravel is amazing.
I think like Laravel. I think it's a really cool framework.
Okay, maybe
Okay, time is up.
we could talk a lot about frameworks, but that's so personal.
I mean more like why Sudoku chose this, especially since they are rewriting, but
I'm kind of sure that has a very long answer
Yeah.
that goes better with beer and everything else.
Certainly, it's a very long answer.
So people are here.
We're not rewriting to Laravel. We've always used Laravel.
Okay.
I thought you got that wrong.
I imagine that you stuck to Laravel.
Yeah. So I actually had a discussion today with Lucas, one of our founders here. He wrote a lot of the legacy code I was talking about. Yeah. And he actually told me today that you were having a discussion between Symphony and
Yeah, we started with playing. At some point, like, oh, we need a framework. Right? And then we had an endless debate about Symfony or Laravel. I think we eventually settled for Laravel. I don't know why. I actually wrote it. Back then,
Just kept to what you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Oh.
used used Laravel, but now we're writing really old legacy codes with obnoxious methodologies to a better thing. Like we had everything in traits, not anymore, and many more things that you can ask developers here about it. Yeah.
Then the Raffler.
Yes.
Thank you for the sound effect. Oh, it's not mirroring.
I'm trying to imitate the sequence.
I'm going to I forgot.
Everybody was watching.
Does it work?
There are a few ground rules to use this raffler. The first rule, you cannot get out of the screen or you cannot lock your phone while using it or you will be signed out because it uses live WebSockets. That is on purpose because we cannot use a perfectly good raffler. We have to deal with these things. It is a tradition.
Yeah, and you cannot participate.
Yeah.
No one here yet.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
All right. I think we have enough people. We go with the first. What do we raffle first?
So we have 3 elephants, chocolate bar, and so let them pick.
All right. If everybody is ready, I'm starting. Yes, let's go. No. Who is MP?
MP?
Over there. Okay, we have 3 elephants. Woo!
So what are those elephants that you have with you?
Benelux and Iberics. That should be.
Okay, so we have those 2 and the very exclusive Molly elephant and a AmsterdamPHP chocolate bar or a JetBrains license. Which would you like?
Which one?
Yeah, I have the same.
All right.
Oh. It used to be wise.
I'm going for the second round.
That's also inclusive.
Ruru.
Oh, that's me.
All right. What's your selection?
I'll take the JetBrains one.
JetBrains license.
Okay, very good. You can.
All right.
Let the man make his own choice.
Which one? Is there a different one? Money. I'll take the whatever the other one. Excuse me.
I won't be able to throw it. Round 3.
What? JetBrains license.
Who is Ayodeji? We got 1 elephant, 2 chocolate bars, and
One chocolate bar. You got
one chocolate bar.
You got one for the speaker.
But if you choose JetBrains, everyone's gonna boo, apparently.
Nice.
All right. All right. Now, who is ready for a 4th round? I just forgot which round it was. Territory. All right.
I gotta have the chocolate bar.
Yeah, very good choice.
Cheers.
The last one for the license.
This for the speaker.
Yeah.
Rafa! Rafa, congratulations! I hear you can trade it for an elephant behind you. Okay, you can come to me and give me your email address, and after the conference
I'll give it a
send
try, I guess.
Yeah. And I forgot, this is, of course, for our speaker. Thank you very much. Let's see. Then we did this part, we did this part. Oh, yeah. Of course, we cannot have this wonderful meetup without the wonderful hosts, companies that would like to host us, or people who would like to present something here, share it with the community. So please, if you have a talk or know somebody, let us know. We're always looking for people, experienced or not experienced, doesn't matter. And also, we are looking for companies that would like to host us, host the meetup. So if you know someone, please let us know. You can contact us on Twitter or on the meetup page. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
But Twitter is preferred.
But Twitter is preferred. So next month we will visit True, one of our long-time sponsors, and Joshua Thijssen will give a presentation about Go for PHP developers. How fitting for the subject. I knew this. So I hope to see you all there. For now, enjoy the rest of the evening. Enjoy the drinks and food if it's here. Maybe we are a little early, so it might take a while. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess it's just us. I'm not sure.
No, but people will watch the
Yeah.
Hey.
Ja? Leuk?
we work working hours, we don't, we go to the bar, then I feel after hours.
Yeah.
I guess it's not your first PhD. Okay.
I dragged the beer last time.
Basically, I get fired. Okay, so you can hear.
I hate my job.
Really?
Yeah, I guess.
Where did you work?
It's a
Maybe. Why? Are you back end? Okay. So here, when our recruitment process is back end, it's extremely tight. Like we really look for top-notch stuff. So we're not looking for a whole assignment in one file. We're looking for like organized things. Yeah. Or now they have this tip. Maybe we can try this. You know? Like we had the goal of hiring 6 developers this year. That's 5 developers. VA impossible. No, here we have no deadline. It's just like we give you the assignment, and how long you take to do it is how long the process will go. Because here we don't have that one. Or we look for a product that our consumers consume. So have to at all. And we want this to be done with quality, so that's what we expect it to be.
Where we used to work, business would make a high priority ticket on Jira, and then ping everybody in the tech team Slack.
Here, teams, guys,
Guys, this is affecting all of our efforts in the revenue.
Yeah.
So, often causes problems.
No one will listen.
Nobody. I know. And then has a huge monolith surrounded by smaller microservices. That monolith is like really painful to deploy.
You can imagine, yeah.
I went for vacation. I didn't know handling the deployment. I did that. I came very fun vacation. And instead of like listening to me, I don't think it's a bad thing. There's a business deploy it.
Was your product in only one country or? Oh, okay. That makes it a little bit easier, but not as easy to make that kind of practice. The problem is not about the deploy, it's about what you're deploying, right?
It would be a PHP answer of Smash tournament. Yeah.